What's going on, y'all? Forward Fabian back with a video. We're doing a reaction to judge denying bail for Diddy, man. So a lot of stuff came through the pipeline. You know, a lot of new news that was disclosed, I believe, yesterday. So let's go ahead and hop into the reaction. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on everything going on right now.
Our breaking news: the judge in the Sean Diddy Combs trial has just rather shockingly denied him bail. This, of course, coming after the news that the jury convicted him of two of the lesser charges in the government's case against him, finding him not guilty of the three biggest and most consequential charges. Do we have Elizabeth Wagmeister yet? Okay, so let's get straight to CNN's Elizabeth Wagmeister, who's outside the court, along with Laura Coates. Laura, this is a surprising development. What are we learning? What are the judge's reasons for not letting him out?
Well, we are still learning all the reasons why the judge has denied bail to Sean Diddy Combs pending his sentencing. That can be an indication of a number of things. Remember, the prosecution is intending to ask for jail time in this matter. Each of those charges could provide 10 years in prison. The sentencing guidelines will obviously dictate to what extent that will be followed. Those are the maximum. It is the ceiling, not the floor. But given the number of offenses he has failed to have in the past and the corresponding ways in which you judge someone's category that they're in for the ultimate decision of sentencing, it could be far less than that. I will say, of course, that the judge, by making this statement, essentially is giving a bit of a heads up that perhaps jail time is in fact what he will actually hand down to Sean Diddy Combs when the sentencing does in fact occur. I will also say that this indicates that the judge believed that there were no conditions of release that could have been met that would have satisfied the court in terms of whatever pending threat there may have been to society or the witnesses or victims in this case that as alleged, and that the conditions of release, including a passport being removed, no access to a flight, living in...
That's the thing. A lot of people thought he was going to flee the country, run. So that's partially, I would say, probably the biggest reason why, as to why they don't want to release him. But I think his team had spoke, representative had mentioned that, like, because they're always trying to provide validity, right? An argument as to why bail should be granted, the validity behind the fact that when they were initially after him, he didn't flee, he didn't try to be, you know, conniving. I want to say he was out of state, but went directly to New York, turned himself in, so to speak. So I don't know. And a lot of people are in the talks of him already having time served. It's crazy, like, it's been a year or close to that he's been in there. It seemed like a lot of this stuff just happened recently.
Places other than New York. All these things could have been a part of it. You have additional information as well in terms of the why.
You know, we don't have the why quite yet. We are waiting from our team inside the courtroom. But when you said that part of the reason why could be that the judge perhaps believes that Combs could be a threat to society or the other witnesses, it reminded me of a letter that Cassie Ventura's attorney submitted just hours ago opposing him being released on bail. Jake, I want to read you a quote from his letter. It says, quote, "Miss Ventura believes that Mr. Combs is likely to pose a danger to the victims who testified in this case, including herself, as well as to the community." Now, before this trial began, Laura, we remember that there were 3 attempts at bail from Combs's defense, all of which were denied by 3 different judges, one of them being the judge who is overseeing this case. Now, part of the reasons why the prosecution had alleged that he was tampering with witnesses, that he was trying to manipulate witnesses from behind bars, the prosecution had said at one point that Sean Combs was paying inmates at the MDC to use their phones in jail. So that was one of the reasons why the judge denied bail before the trial, as he was awaiting this trial. But again, we don't know the reasons yet.
This is my thing. It's like people don't have common sense. Diddy's at a tier or a point to where he doesn't need to do the dirty work himself. So I say that to say, I don't see how he's a threat to society once being released. Like, he's not going to be a personal physical threat to anyone. The thing about Diddy, he pays people off. He got money. He got probably henchmen. That can get done behind the wall or not. You see my point? Like, if he's paying people within jail or where he is currently to use their phones, he can pay people outside of the wall to possibly harm the victims. And this is a hypothetical, but think about it. He's a man of power. He doesn't need to be physically present for anything to be done. So if people are fearful that releasing him specifically is going to hurt the witnesses, I highly doubt that. Like, he could hurt the witnesses in any place, point in time. Do people not understand that? Like, mob bosses that have been locked up or who were locked up for decades, they were still getting hits done on the outside. They didn't need to physically be out there to call a hit. So it's just senseless.
A perfect segue here, Jake, as well, because we're learning that the judge says this on the bench, essentially that he had denied bail when it wasn't mandatory before the trial, and, quote, sees no reason to reach the opposite conclusion now. He's also quoting the defense at different instances when Combs' own lawyers acknowledged his violence towards his former girlfriends during the trial, saying at trial the defense conceded defendants' violence in personal relationships, saying it happened in relation to Cassie Ventura and Jane. This is very important because, remember, one of the things that was said in the opening statement by Tenny Garagos is that they own the violence, that they admitted to what was seen in that now infamous exclusive video obtained by CNN for the Intercontinental Hotel, where there was a savage assault against Cassie Ventura. And, of course, the prosecution during trial said, well, domestic violence is not a defense of sex trafficking. Well, he wasn't convicted on that. But you can better believe that the notice from Cassie's attorney and others probably weighed very heavily on this judge's mind.
So Cassie ended up getting multiple payouts, right? One specifically from Diddy as like a hush. Wasn't it hush money prior or some type of compensation just for damages done? I don't know, but racks, millions. And then additionally, she got a payout from the Intercontinental Hotel. But for what? Was it due to somebody comment down below and let me know, because I'm curious, was it due to the fact that they had the footage, it was concealed, they didn't release it, or like, I don't know. I need to look into how she got the payout from the hotel.
And Elizabeth, you spoke with Cassie's attorney. We're going to bring some of that interview later in the show. But it has to be pretty difficult for someone like Cassie, who came forward to tell her story, to tell it in such a graphic and revealing and vulnerable way, and then have a jury of her peers basically say, we don't believe you beyond a reasonable doubt.
This is Pod 5, the first full.
Somebody comment down below. Let me know y'all's thoughts on this whole case and everything surrounding it, man. It seems like, I don't know, a lot is going on in Hollywood and entertainment. I think a lot more will be revealed in terms of, this is just the beginning. There's going to be a lot of, I don't know, powerhouse individuals that are names that are renowned, that will start to fall and crumble. Whether it's just due to falsifying information or over exaggerating occurrences to where, you know, the legal system gets involved and, you know, you're doing football numbers, years, or, you know, some validity to a lot of crimes that a lot of these entertainment moguls and these Hollywood folks have been committing behind the scenes.
Yes, Jake, so I know that we are going to get more of this interview a bit later in the show, but I will tell you that her attorney, Douglas Wigdor, did tell me that he believes that the jury actually did believe Cassie and did believe her core allegations, just that the burden is very high for these federal crimes, and that he believes that the jury ultimately did not see a way to meet this charge because, again, that the jury did not believe that the prosecutors met their burden of proof, but that he does believe that Cassie was believed. He also said that Cassie is very proud of herself. This was traumatic for her to testify, but it was also cathartic she can now move on. We know that she is a mother of 3, a newborn at home. She was 8 months pregnant, testifying in this trial, had her 3rd child shortly after she got off the stand. So she's really focused on family. Her attorney told me that she has a great support system, not just her family, but also she is in therapy. She has great resources now, and he said, you never heal from this. It'll take a lifetime to heal, but she's well into that process. So it sounds like she is doing okay. Her attorney actually told me, don't worry about Cassie.
I think her bringing it to the forefront is probably, in all the coverage is probably going to be more traumatic in the long run, more stress, and this is like stamped at this point. I mean, a lot of people got mixed reviews as to why she came forward all of a sudden. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think in the long run, it's going to hurt her physically, mentally, or not more so mentally is what I meant to say, psychologically in the long run. People will be talking about this for a very long time. This is just one of those topics, or when it comes to cases that just have historical sustenance for a very long time. Like, people going to be talking about Kells, Cosby, the wines, like all this stuff. It don't just get swept under the rug. The paper trail, it's going to follow you. No matter what side of the coin you're on, because a lot of the stuff that was revealed as to the activities they were partaking in is very, very unspeakable, man. A lot of stuff that's where it needs to stay, behind the covers, or behind those closed doors. So we'll see.
So their acknowledgement of that, especially when there was violence, is in the trial. When Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers acknowledged his acts of violence towards former girlfriends during the trial, and to be clear, this was not a domestic violence case. So their acknowledgement of that, especially when there was video of him beating up Cassie Ventura, was an attempt to get ahead of that judgment. What do you make of the judge's reasoning? Essentially, he's been violent to these women before. I see no reason why he wouldn't do it again.
Well, I think the judge can't unhear the testimony that he heard in the trial. And also, the judge pointed out that the defense attorneys during the trial admitted that their client was violent and had issues and problems and flaws, and that these were terrible situations. But again, the defense was saying it was domestic violence. I think the judge could have gone the other way here, because the jury did acquit him of the racketeering and the sex trafficking counts, which would involve alleged acts of violence. And the jury found that he wasn't guilty of any of that. He was just found guilty of transporting individuals across state lines to engage in prostitution. So what is his risk to the community on that? The problem is, I think Cassie Ventura's letter might have had an effect on the judge. The judge feels that he needs to protect the community from Sean Combs. But in the end, Sean Combs might not get that steep of a sentence out of this conviction, and he'll eventually be released from jail with credit for the 10 months he's already done in, and he'll be back out in the community after the case. I can't imagine a defendant who's just gone through a trial like Sean Combs went through, where everything that happened behind closed doors was now exposed to the nation, and it was a heinous exposure, that he wouldn't be on best behavior, not.
Thank you. She said it right there. For the dude, the interviewer, to mention, well, what's to say he won't do it again? He's got a long history of domestic or abuse or whatever, physical violence. My thing is, like, it's kind of like once you get a spanking, or like once you burn, once you get a whooping growing up, once you burn your hand on the stove. To her point, it's been exposed, like, you're going to be on good behavior. Once you touch the stove and you know that it's hot and it can burn you, you're going to move accordingly. You're going to move a little bit different. It's just common sense. People always will do things in the dark. Once it comes to the light, they fall in line. So that's the point. Like, I don't see him being this, just running rampant, creating all this chaos as soon as he gets out. I think he's going to be very calm or move in silence, not maybe be heard but barely seen. I don't think he's going to be popping out at events or nothing like that. I just think he's going to keep to himself and probably just focus on his family, and he need to focus on being a better man, you know? So, with that being said, I don't even think people are already disassociating themselves from him. No celebrities that we're talking about that were cool with Diddy in the past are going to be, there's no camaraderie now. I think that he just needs to leave the country, probably start a new life somewhere, go to an island, bro, and just, live the rest of your days, taking breathers that you're not locked up for football numbers. So that's all I got to say, man. Let me know y'all's thoughts on this in the comment section down below. A lot has been going on in the past 5 years or so, man. A lot of people getting locked up. Got to keep your head on the swivel, man. Peace, love, prosperity. God bless. We'll see y'all next time. We out.